Hello and welcome everyone to a very exciting, explosive, potentially, certainly interesting episode of the most famous person I barely met, another panel show. We have a lot of wrinkles here, and I'm not talking about my forehead. That's a bad joke. First of all, we have a co-host, one of the regulars of the show. He's wearing a shirt that I'm not trying to explain it, but it's certainly concerning. Robert Schaab. Raise your hand, Bobby.
Nice to be here, John.
Thank you. And this is a Villanova show. We all went to Villanova. We all graduated in the great year of 87, except Mr. George Kneeland, who's much younger than us, an 88 baby from Villanova. We have Michael Morris from the great state of Maryland, right, Michael?
Washington, D.C., but close enough.
Washington, D.C., which is no jokes yet, Michael. Michael Hamberg from the great state of Maryland. Is that true?
That is true.
Georgie Kneeland from the great state of New York, but we're going to say he's in Connecticut right now, and he is from a nutmeg state man, right? And Bobby Schaab, who hails from New Jersey, but now he's a Connecticut boy. Is that correct, Robert?
That is correct. I'm in New Haven.
All right. Well, before we start, I am compelled to read a note from my attorneys, Corazelli and Murray and Sons. And they've advised me that not only am I not liable for anything that these guests say today, but they are eager and excited to sue these young men, if they can, take their funds and put it to good use. For example, the Axemen Foundation, a charity started by Gregory Atkin to help Civil War enactors who are traumatized by their fake battle scene recreations. So that said, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And as we did a long time ago with these gentlemen, when we became legal age, we often had an adult beverage, always responsibly, one and then bed. So I'm going to raise mine. In honor of my Rochester heritage, I have a Genesee Colch Ruby Red. Robert, do you have anything with you?
I have a Lawson's Little Sip IPA here.
Beautiful. Michael Morris, do you have anything?
Sure. A little bourbon and ginger.
Bourbon and ginger. That's a good beer. I like that beer. Michael Hamberg, what do you have?
I have a Surfside. I've had some bourbons before this one.
And Mr. Kneeland, what do you have?
Just a basic high noon.
All right. Well, let's take a sip to Villanova.
Cheers.
And to French.
Cheers, boys. I'd like to add it's a great day to be a Wildcat.
I'm going to say something about this Jenny Colch because I'm trying to get them to be a sponsor. It's absolutely horrible. And as they say, you can taste the savings. It is horrible. Oh, it's like a Pete Ruby. Oh my God, it's great.
Kolsch is a good beer. I guess Jenny just screwed it up.
You've had that?
No, I've had Kolsch. It's a good style of beer.
Now, I have swam in the Genesee River and drank a little bit of it, and it tastes better than that. Okay.
John, what do you know about beer?
I don't know much about beer. Thank you, Mike. When we were in college, Mike Hamberg was the most supportive of my friends. He would always say, John, I'm glad you're getting a 3.9. Work harder. Work hard. He was that kind of guy. And I'm glad he hasn't changed. And Mr. Morris and we lived together for a little while. Remember that, Michael?
I do remember that. That was wonderful.
Couldn't get away from me fast enough. So, and Georgie and I played basketball together out here in the island. And Robert and I, at one time we had a death cult, didn't we, Robbie? Or we had a death, if one died before the other, we were going to pour beer on each other's graves or something like that.
Possibly, yes.
Well, don't pour Ruby Red Colch. Okay. All right, kids, I have been advised by Mr. Robert Schaab here that sometimes when I interview people, it goes a little slow and it's one after another. Just kind of do it free wheeling, per se. So I'll ask these men around the room to tell a little bit about themselves. And I'll ask Robert, Bobby, if you think there's a follow-up needed, ask me. Okay, is that good?
That's fine.
So, Rob, Michael and George.
Yeah,
Tell us
I've
about
got to
yourself.
say, John, I'm a little concerned just right off the bat. Like I'm not sure what to say. There was no attorney involvement at any of the other episodes that you've
No,
done.
no, this is new. This is new. And
Is this because of Mike Homberg's on with us?
And the attorney he's mentioning, Frank Corzelli,
well,
tried to say back in the day,
my wealth management team of McStravick and Sean Grady have advised me to get attorneys. So,
Okay.
your
Okay.
attorney, Frank Corzelli, in Ocean City back in the day, tried to represent me in front of a bar, and he ended up in jail with me.
all right, we might edit that out because my attorney. Don't
Oh,
look
boy.
into it. Don't look into it. Don't look into it. Well, you got one has to protect oneself. Okay.
That's right.
All right. And Michael Murray has already said that he's going to be very lenient. He only takes a 25% fee from anything that goes. Okay.
Nice.
Sorry, who are you guys? Where are you? Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
I'll start.
Good.
I'm in Washington, D.C. Been living here in this house for about 25 years now. Four adult kids, two in New York City, two here in DC. Um, Married for 34 years
Nice.
to the former Bridget Quinn. And still working. I'm in the mortgage banking business, as is our friend down there in the bottom left corner, Mike Hamberg. And we work for the same company, so it's been wonderful. I learn a lot from him.
Wow.
Robert, any follow-up questions for Michael?
I don't know if Mike remembers, but I remember a fond episode between Sullivan and Sheehan where he climbed into a cherry picker. If I know if he wanted to elaborate on that one.
Robert, I don't see how after what Michael just said, so inspiring that we want, but I'm going to allow that one. Michael, the cherry picker, were you there?
I'm on the advice of my attorney. I'm gonna plead the fifth there. I don't remember the cherry pick. I remember pizza boxes and lots of other things.
Yeah.
Sleeping in them, but not being on a cherry picker.
I
Sorry.
remember you as a beautiful young student, wide-eyed and smart. And the first time I did see you was outside what Doherty, the hall, where we ate dinner. And it was
That's right.
snowing. It was freshman year. It was snowing, and you dove into the snow. Now, somebody said you were inebriated, but I just thought you loved snow, to be quite honest. So, and I always like to remember you that way. Just happy-go-lucky. I know your wife, Bridget, great lady. Congratulations, 4 kids. Mortgage banking, that's wonderful. Why are you still working? Because I heard rumor has it you have billions. You have all these bottles
Billion.
behind you. Now, are you thinking of retirement?
I'm not. I'm really lucky. I love what I do. I'm healthy, knock on wood. And what else am I gonna do, honestly?
You could come stay with me for a little while. We could have.
Yeah, I've been pretty good about just head down, just kind of what's in front of you is what's in front of you. We haven't really sat down and talked about like 5 years from now, 6 years from now. So yeah, not there yet.
Well, I'll call Bridget tomorrow.
I've got a pretty good life the way it is. So why change anything?
Good for you. Good for you. I don't like my life, but that's good. Mr. Hamberg, what about you?
Yes, I work with Mike Morse. It's exhausting. I've been in the mortgage business. Morse got me into the mortgage business.
I did.
And I hate it now. Morse loves it. I hate it. It's miserable, but I'm going to keep doing it. I said I have to do it at least 5 more years because I think about retiring and I don't know what I would do other than become a drunk.
It's kind of beautiful. Thank you.
Kind of feel like, what do? You just go out, drink? Well, like, what do you do? I don't know. Play pickleball.
Big question, Mike. It's a big question.
So yeah, I'm living in Maryland, which I've always lived in. my daughters live in my house in Baltimore City, 30 and 25. So I have two squatters up there. I moved in with my girlfriend 5 years ago. And yeah, that's basically what I've been doing.
Georgie boy, what's up?
Johnny. Well, I mean, listen, it's an honor because obviously all four of you were inspirations to me and helped bring me up at Villanova.
Yes.
I mean, I'll introduce myself quickly and just let you know that and of course I have to be discreet because I am a teacher. I teach fifth graders right now over in Sag Harbor, and I also coach basketball, varsity girls basketball. Now, I am not at the level of Kevin McNamara, but
who is?
But who is, right? And who could follow in his shoes?
No.
I don't pretend to. You know, I take a play or two from his book and we run with it. But it's an exciting thing to do. Love my teaching job. However, there's only 2 or 3 years left. And then I'm thinking maybe I'll be the front man for Costco, the meter and greeter, and do a little backwoods tour of the United States and, you know, hit every Costco for 2 or 3 months.
That's very
Something along those lines. It's just an idea. We'll see. I do have to I honestly thank all four of you. I will not bring up everything that you've done for me, but I was a very frugal person at Villanova, didn't know how to dress, didn't know how to dance, still struggle a little bit with a few things. And you guys have helped me out immensely. So I just say, I'm a retired Catholic now. I'll just do this and say thank you.
Well, you're welcome because
thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that the four of you have done for me.
If we did one thing for you, we got rid of your saddle, right?
You're thankful for that?
What do you say?
You know, some of the things I do appreciate.
You couldn't get out.
Well, yeah, you know, one of the things I appreciate was, you know, when I got to school a week early, and I was hanging out with my roommate, Mark Ivanich.
Scratch.
Right. Well, I believe it was around 10 o'clock at night. The door was forced closed, and I was pennied in, and somebody took their baby powder and a hair dryer and started blowing it into the room. I don't think we got out of that room for another 4 or 5 hours. I believe a man named Soupy Soprano came when we opened the door. But that was nice, just to get a feel for what Villanova was like. I really appreciate that.
You know, Georgie, I love Mark Ivanich Scratch. I had a very nice night with him out. We went out, and unfortunately, he transferred. I remember.
Yeah, the influence you had on him was just.
I tried, and George,
immense.
You thank us. I thank you because you brought youth to us. George is very tall, strong. He brought a very. We liked having him around when we maybe mouthed off to people, but just a great guy. I played basketball with him. He's got one of the best little lefty rocket shots I've ever seen. Great passer. If you're imparting to the girls your passing ability, seize the court well.
Let me, George, you gave us more than we gave you, believe me. What a tremendous work ethic. None of us had that. We watched you, and you were like on the cutting edge of eating. Like that thing you did where you ate on your stomach so that because you really felt like gravity would not allow the food to go into your belly, and so you would remain.
Good point, Mike. Good point. Great
and strong. Yeah.
Great eater.
Yeah.
Well, I did a lot of studying about metabolism, and that was one of the strategies you could use to really increase your metabolism. So
I use it to this day.
You know, one of the things that I enjoyed, especially when you said the effort put into studying, was often if I had a test the next day, it was lovely over at Holland Avenue how sometimes the boy, again, being a grade up from me, the other four roommates could go out and I would spend my evening studying, and I'd try to get to bed on time, just as the boys told me to do during my freshman year. And I'd try to go to sleep around 11:30, but then all of a sudden I'd break into sweat because I knew we were getting close It could have been 12, 1, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. when all the boys would come in, and then it would start. And I don't think I would go to sleep till about
We'd
6.
have a lot of Coca-Colas, and we'd be all, talking
Yeah.
about Bible passages. You get all excited. You
No,
can't.
I think he's talking about me. I'd get drunk and come home, and you got to poke the bear. When the bear got mad, it hurt.
But I have to say, they would make it up because it was quite a trip to get back to the university to go to classes. And Mike Hamberg always would say, "George, do you need a ride? It's 8:30. It's time to get to class. I'll put you in. I'll take you up and drop you off for the day." He always did that. So
Michael,
no matter what condition he was in, he was always willing to offer a ride, or at least drop me off at the train station.
That's a
so
road.
let's be honest. He shouldn't have been driving at 8:30 in the morning. So that makes it even better.
Probably not, and I believe the neighbors, the Carringtons, would concur with that. Yes.
That makes it even more generous, Mike, that you were risking, incarceration to take your friend to school. That was very, very good of you. Very good.
He sent Frank to get me out of trouble.
Very
He's
good.
an attorney.
Well, this is nice. And we played a lot of basketball together. Bobby didn't play so much, but
No,
the two Mikes and Georgie and I, we played. Bob, you were more of a mascot, right?
yeah, I was more of a instead of being a student athlete, I was more of just a student.
Okay.
Well,
Coach,
I'm
maybe?
sorry to interrupt you, but I think it should be mentioned he seemed to have been like the Jake Nevin of the Nookie Patrol.
Little
Oh,
taller,
yeah.
a little
Yeah.
taller, a little taller. This might be a bad opinion, but I like Bobby better than Jake Nevin. So I'm just going to say that right now. So
Thank you, John.
You were a great athlete at the case race. Nobody better.
I mean, Rob, I believe on several of those Olympiad events at Cricket Avenue, you did finish at least in second and third place several times.
beautiful, beautiful.
I just went to a minor league baseball game, the Hartford Yard Goats, on Saturday, and I threw out the first pitch, and it was kind of humiliating because I bounced it in there, and the announcer called me out on it.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought you'd do better.
I thought I'd do better too, but no.
I don't know if you remember, Robert. There was a sad moment. I think we're senior year when we went to some baseball field nearby, and we put a beer on each base, and we'd run to the base and drink the beer, and then we said, "This is too hard." It was too much work. All right. Okay, we've had a pass. But we're all doing well now. We're all gainfully employed, and well, maybe not me, but we're all doing okay, right? All right.
No complaints.
So here is why the people came. The people came. The people are here. They're waiting. There's a lot of Villanova people waiting to hear this. My big audience growing. Gentlemen of the world, all four of you have been around. You're men of leisure and men of substance, powerful men, I would say. And share with us the most famous person you barely met. And this will be for the two Mikes and Georgie Kneeland. You can have more than one story, but just Robert and I will chaperone, right, Robert?
Of course.
And this is open swim. Just pretend that we're real people and we're in a room together.
All right. Well, Johnny, I think I'm gonna start this off because I don't think I have any story that can rival that of Mike and Mike. But obviously, as you know, living in the Hamptons, you come across quite a few celebs, as you know, you've probably seen. I believe you actually saw Tom Brady a few weeks ago. You were interacting with Tom just a few weeks ago.
I did. I yelled at him. Okay.
You did. So I'm going down my list. It was a difficult decision. I came across Beetlejuice here at I believe that was Frank's bachelor party. I was thinking about Beetlejuice, but then I said I should move on. So I'm actually going to talk about a story. When I left my job in Connecticut in hospital administration, I decided to marry my first ex, and I moved to Shelter Island. And when we did that, we were trying to look for some new pursuits. And one of the things we decided to do was to move to Florence, Italy. I stayed there for several months. My ex stayed beyond that time. But we came across a great art studio, and they were young emerging artists. And we decided to buy a lot of the inventory because they weren't being represented. It's a very abstract time in the U.S. art market. So we started a gallery in Soho and in Sag Harbor. And in the Sag Harbor Gallery, I'm sure you're even aware of this, Johnny. It's where the Sag Harbor Cinema is right now.
I know exactly.
Okay, so you know where it is. So on the left-hand side, there were 2 floors. And I happened to be upstairs with my ex. And per usual, I was either doing the billing or I was cleaning. And she was usually running her mouth. I think we were probably having a little spat at the time, as we often did. Bob, you can weigh in on that if you need to. But as I was cleaning, I hear footsteps coming up. And then I'm mesmerized because it's a beautiful blonde woman and her husband. And it turns out to be Kim Basinger.
Ooh.
Or Basinger, however you pronounce her name.
Okay.
And I just stopped and I looked and and I'd seen the movie LA Confidential. She blew me away. And I just watched the 2 of them walk up the stairs. I knew about Alec, even though I called him Alex. I believe the movie was Malice. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
In which he says, I guess he's a young surgeon and says he has a godlike complex. All right. So anyway, they walk up the stairs. They're looking at the paintings. I'm just staying off to the side, just, oogling there. And my ex, I'm trying not to mention her name, starts talking to them. And I just listened. And I was just amazed as I'm watching Kim and I'm listening to Alec talk about, he's talking Shakespeare. He's going to Arthur Miller plays. I'm like, wow, this guy's really talented. So anyway, as you know, their marriage. So they leave. They didn't buy a painting that evening, but it was very exciting. So they happen to leave. As time goes on, as you know, that marriage dissolved. A lot of conflict in that marriage. But Alec continued to come back to the gallery and look around. Several times he would walk by the gallery in the evening, and as I was mopping the floor and cleaning up as I did per usual, and he would just open the door and he'd be like, "Hey, what do you do for a workout?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "What do you do?" He goes, "I'm putting on a lot of extra weight. Wait, tell me what you do." "Yeah, you do." I said, I'm doing pull-ups and sit-ups and things like that, playing hoops and things like that. And he's like, "Oh, really?" He goes, "I really need something. I'm just putting on too much weight." So, that's basically the extent of the conversation I would have with him. But I was always happy to know that he would pop in the gallery, say hi, ask me about a workout. But he still did have this budding interest in the paintings. And for that, he would always go talk to my ex. Wanted nothing to do with me when it came to paintings. Okay, so we go probably another year or so. He actually starts buying a few paintings and now has become a patron of the gallery. So my ex and I have a really wonderful farmhouse on Shelter Island. And we would do a once a year in the summer party for all the patrons of the gallery. And I mean, we would get the pool ready. The water was glistening. I'd be out in the yard I'm getting wheelbarrows full of, all kinds of beer and liquor and whatnot, and putting, alcohol stations around the property. And the party started at about, I think it was supposed to start around 5:30. At 3:45, a car pulls up, and there he is. Alec walks in, opens the gate, says hi to my ex, and then, says hi to me. And then he goes to sit down at the picnic table. I'm still outside working. And he starts munching on guac and chips. And he's just keeping to himself. I'm looking over. I don't want to bother him too much. And then we go over to my ex and I go over and we, chat with him for a minute or two. He's like, this is the best damn effing time I've ever had. He goes, nobody's bothering me. It's so peaceful. I love this place. So I'm like, all right, great. Continue on. So we leave him to himself. I go back to work to try to get things prepped. 5 o'clock rolls around and then another car pulls in. 4 or 5 kids get out of the car and then a husband and wife get out. The husband comes in, immediately recognizes Alec and goes over to him and just starts. Now, of course, this guy happened to be a young, strong Republican and just started laying into him. You know Alec's little history. He just laid into him. And next thing I know, Alec just says, get the F out of here. I'm leaving. And there he goes. He left his chips. He got up, said thank you, walked away, and I never saw him again.
Oh my God, that's a good story.
And that's it, Johnny.
That's a great story. Now, for those out there that might not, because it's Alec Baldwin, not Alec Burks, the ball player for the Knicks, right? We're talking Alec Baldwin. Right. Okay.
Although the Knicks could still use a shooter.
Well, Georgie, that is a great story, and that's Hampton's lore, because Basinger and Baldwin were big news out here. And then she left after they broke up. She went with another one of your boys, Peter Cook, the Sag Harbor boy, right?
She did.
And that didn't work out well either, right? For her.
Did not.
I saw it all coming when she was in 9.5 weeks. Remember with Mickey Rourke?
Right,
Remember with Mickey Rourke? Didn't we all want to look like Mickey Rourke? We all had black things and all that.
I don't now.
I remember, just one thing about your ex, she used to paint at the Wainscott Beach.
She did. I think the two of you had a little relationship going as far as like talking about the arts and writing.
And I would see her and she'd always say, I'd say, how's George? And we'd talk a little bit about you. She always said nice things about George. And
well, that's nice of you, Johnny, because I don't really think that was the case, but that is nice of you.
No, it was, she was, anyway, the gallery's a good gallery. And I think that's a hell of a good story. Poor Alec Baldwin just wanted to eat chips, right? Isn't that what it was?
That's all he wanted to do.
I don't know.
And eat chips and just relax and not be bothered.
Robert, you have something to say?
I felt parallels to my favorite episode so far has been Charlie Walsh, who Louis, the comic Louis Anderson tried to, I don't know, to do something with him. We'll just say that, I'll leave it there. And when George was telling that story, I felt the exact same thing of Alec Baldwin and doing something like that to George. That's what I felt.
Yeah, I believe there were some parallels there. I mean, I think the only thing is, I don't know if Charlie worked in that workout regimen that I was telling Alex about.
George,
and eventually I would tell him about the boxing also.
All we do know that Alec Baldwin moved on, and he's got like 13, 14, 18 children now with another woman.
Yeah, yes.
But who didn't see George and say, give me some workout tips? The kid looks like an Adonis. He's incredible.
No, I have to say the only person that didn't was Beetlejuice. And
okay.
Part of the reason why I didn't share that
good story. Which one of the mics wants to go next?
I'll be happy to go.
Okay.
Yeah, and Rob, I'm with you. And look, we're talking about Charlie Walsh and George Kneeland, like two really good-looking guys. Of course, Louis Anderson and Alec Baldwin kind of came on to them a little bit. Yeah,
of course. They're just human. They're just human. Okay.
So I am really torn between two people. One's a much better story than the other, so that will be my choice. But I'm just going to tell you the who I didn't pick was Mother Teresa, and that's a good living saint, right? Like that was a out of body experience. Actually, she touched we spent time with her. We knew a woman who essentially funded most of her work in India. And Mother Teresa is like this tiny, tiny little person. And we got a private audience with her, and I had two kids at the time, I think, and so she came over and kind of gave everybody a hug. We spoke a little bit. I think she said something like the family that prays together stays together, something like that. But I barely met a saint. Pretty cool.
Nice.
That's amazing.
Not a great story though. So I'm going
great
on to
story.
the next one.
Yes.
And my choice, and John, this might be someone I'm interested to see your reaction.
Okay.
My choice is O.J. Simpson.
Oh, my hero when I was a kid.
Yeah, his life took a different turn later, but in 1974, I was living in Hawaii. My father was stationed there, and my uncle Jim Morris was a middle linebacker for the Air Force Academy and played in the Hula Bowl. So we were living there. We got to see the game. He very kindly offered to let me and my father, I think, into the locker room. We got to meet people, and OJ had won. I think that was the year after he set the record for the most rushing yards with like 73, right? So this would have been January of 74. So he was a really famous person at the time, but um, got to briefly meet him. He signed my Hula Bowl program. I think 2 weeks later, I traced the signature, which is really not a good thing to do. But that locker room, and it's kind of weird that I was 9 at the time, so I'm in like I just keep thinking of the whole airplane thing where the guy's like, "Hey, you ever been in the men's locker room?" Like, I was there and the players in that Hula Bowl were like Lynn Swan, Leroy Selman, Mike Webster. It was a who's who. If you ever go through the program, it's amazing. And yeah, I got to spend a little bit of time with them. Um,
Was he a nice guy?
he was a really nice guy. Really like soft spoken.
Yeah.
No, yeah, obviously things changed. I will say this. I thought it was very strange. On one hand, he wore a glove, and I just remember how well it fit, and I just thought that was strange. I didn't think anything of it, but yeah, nice
Yeah.
guy.
Well, listen, so Mike, I grew up in Rochester, New York, and OJ was the biggest thing ever to hit the world. I'll tell a little joke here. So the rumor came down later that OJ was maybe doing some drugs when he was at Buffalo, some cocaine. And someone told my dad this, and they said they call him Snow Jay, because instead of OJ, Snow Jay. But my dad wasn't the hippest guy in the world, and he goes, yeah, they call him Snow Juice. I always laugh at that. But OJ was a great player, and Buffalo it was really hard to get good players and all that. And the electric company, remember Reggie McKenzie and Jimmy Braxton and those guys. I haven't heard that name, Leroy Selman, because I used to call Rob Schaab the Leroy Selman of Villanova, because just the way he would move about. But that's a good story. Robert, do you have anything for Michael? Don't say that you think Mother Teresa was hitting on him, okay?
No, I just want to keep track. So George's Alec Baldwin, he shot someone to death. And Michael's O.J. Simpson, he knifed someone. All right, I'm just keeping track.
So you're noticing a theme. Yeah.
Bobby, you really brought something to the table today.
I'm sorry.
The co-host,
He's spot on.
Beautiful story about poor Alec Baldwin eating guacamole, and a beautiful story about a living saint and a man who maybe went the wrong way in life after a little while. But when he did meet a 9-year-old Michael Morris, whose father beautifully took him to this thing, it was a nice moment. But now you have to interject some of the rather sordid details of it. Okay.
Unfortunately, yes.
I'm
And,
sorry.
and Mike, who was your favorite team as a kid?
Great question. So my dad, career military officer, we were in the DC area 2 or 3 times, and so I was always a Redskin fan. Um, and my dad was a Cowboy fan because of Roger Staubach, Naval Academy guy.
Yeah.
And so that was an interesting dynamic. But I became a USC Trojan fan because when I used to go up to my grandparents' house and, Lindsey Nelson was always doing the Notre Dame replay games. I just remember a particular time when Anthony Davis, remember
Oh,
AD, like
Heisman.
played against Notre Dame. I think he scored like 6 touchdowns in this game, ran across the goal line on his knees. Like, again, as a little kid, you think that's the greatest thing ever. And they wore similar colors to the Redskins, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I thought they were the same team. I was
Great.
really little at that
Well,
time.
how did
So
how did Villanova get you and not USC? Were you torn on that? How did USC not gobble you up?
yeah, that wasn't going to happen ever. I
What?
was always a Nova Hoop fan.
Yeah.
Always, even living here in ACC territory, Georgetown was just up and coming, and I loved when Villanova beat Georgetown back
Oh, yeah.
back in the very beginning of the Big East.
Let's raise our drink for that.
Still love it.
The
Let's
great
go.
the great Harold Jensen from our era. Oh my God. Well, that's a good story. I love those old USC. I used to be like Notre Dame when I was a kid. Remember how big those games were? And I think Anthony Davis torched Notre Dame one time.
Absolutely.
He
Yeah.
did 6 touchdowns, I
And
believe.
I think OJ was a USC dude,
He
and
was.
rumor has it he went crazy because the other guy, who was the other Heisman guy, he was dating Nicole.
Charles White, maybe?
No, no.
That was later.
He played for the Raiders. He was an MVP. He was very good.
Oh, Marcus Allen.
Marcus Allen. Marcus Allen.
Yes.
Well, good. Despite Robert trying to kind of put a dark spin.
I'm just trying to keep track of.
I think it's the shirt, Bobby. I think it's the shirt. Michael Hamberg.
I think he was spot on. Like, these guys are with some bad people.
Well, Rob does know what both the Juice and Lawrence Taylor do share in common. Both outstanding players on different ends of the field.
Hey, George.
Thank you, George.
George, guess what I saw in the gym 2 weeks ago? Dexter Manley.
No.
Wow.
I went to get a smoothie and he was like 5 people behind, and he got up to the front and they were like, they had like a shirt that he wanted, and they scan it and they get his card and they're like, it's not connected to a credit card. And he's like, oh, okay, I guess I can't get it. So I go, hey, Dex, I got this for you. And I bought him a t-shirt.
Is that true?
And he was like talking to me, and I was like, this is the least I could do for you for all the joy you brought to my life.
That's how.
Is that your story? Is that your story? Buying Dexter Manley a T-shirt?
No. I just threw that one in there because I just remembered.
Well, that was a nice.
No, my story revolves around. So, like, I grew up in Gaithersburg, Maryland, and 2 of the guys from Hootie and the Blowfish, Mark and Dean, the guitarist and the bassist, lived in our, like, we all grew up together. So I've always known them. And, they weren't popular when we were in college, and then they got popular afterwards. And, I've been able to follow them and go backstage and do all this fun stuff. So anyhow, they have every year this thing called Monday After the Masters, which is a tournament down in North Myrtle Beach, the Monday after the Masters. So it's like a fundraiser, and they'll have a bunch of people that are actors, musicians, everything. It used to be awesome. Like Mike and Mike in the morning used to do the first tee, and Craig Melvin from NBC Today was the guy on the first tee, like announcing everybody, funniest guy you've ever met. He was hilarious. So we would go to that every year. And actually, I did go last year again. It's kind of fading off, but it was unbelievable. So you're like hanging out with all these people for like 3 days. So the tournament's on Monday. On Sunday, they have 3 events, and we were at the House of Blues, and it's just like people, all these famous people everywhere. So John Daly comes every year, and that's the highlight of my life, to see John Daly. So I tell my buddy Brian Sheehan, I was like, we're going to Daly's trailer. Like, we're going to his bus. He's like, how are we going to get in? I go, I'll figure it out. So we go out to his bus, knock on the door, and the driver comes up and says, yeah. And I go, yeah, Big John told me to come get him when we're ready to go to the strip club. He's like, oh, he's in the back. So me and my boy Brian Sheehan start walking to the back. Meanwhile, I'm passing like Dan Marino, Jim McMahan, actors, all these people. John's in the very back in the kitchen, and I jump up right next to him and get on the countertop and I'm like, what's up? What are we drinking? And he goes, what do you want to drink? I was like, I don't know. Dealer's choice. He goes, let's just start with the Miller Lite. He drank the Miller Lite, he chugged it and smashed it on his head like people did back in college. And I was like, whoa, okay. So we ended up, and like the Hootie guys were there, Darius and all them were in the bus, everybody's in the bus, and everybody's drinking. This little smell of hippie lettuce at times, and like everybody's having a great time. The end of the night, there was only 4 people left in that bus. It was me and my buddy Brian, John Daly, and his brother. John's on all 4s cleaning up shit, and I walk up behind him and kick him in the butt and say, clean my bus up, and like just messing with him. And he just thought it was the funniest thing in the world. So we take a picture. He had a gray Arkansas Razorback shirt on, and it was full of beer down the front. He had jeans on and no shoes. So I cherish this picture. I can't find it anymore. I was on some phone. So like we ended up leaving. The next morning's the tournament. I get out there. Daly has the same outfit from the night before on. Barefoot, same shirt that had beer all over it, same jeans. He comes by us. I go, Big John, what's up? And he looked at me like I had 4 heads, had no idea who I was. Not a clue. I spent the whole night with him. I was destroyed. I was like, I thought me and Daly were going to be boys for the rest of our life. Now, that's probably a blessing, you know, because I would be 100 times bigger than I am now and worse. But yeah, it was always a great time there. Jim McMahan would hang out with us and come to the late night parties. And he came to the condo one night and he walked in, and I already had been out at the pool with him during the day. And he came to the party one night and he walks in the door. I go, hey, McMahan, open your mouth. And I had these little tiny cheese balls. And I threw it, and I was trying to put it in his mouth. I'm like, how's that arm? And it hit him in his forehead. And then we took a picture together. So like, it was always fun down there. And that's my story.
And better yet, I don't think John killed anybody or shot anybody.
Shot anybody. And you know who used to be there, George? Corey Miller from the Giants.
No,
He's now
really?
a pastor.
One of our linebackers.
He comes every year. He's a pastor now. And I'm all pure. You guys all know murderers and terrible people.
Though I wonder if you gave poor McMahon a concussion with that cheese ball, because didn't he have a little problem with his with concussions?
Yeah. He was so drunk. And, yeah. He was at the pool earlier with Ric Flair, us, and all of them. They're a bunch of knuckleheads.
That is a good story. So did John Daly play a whole round that day?
The whole round.
He probably won.
He won the PGA championship the week later. Remember that?
So did you just drink Miller Lite the whole night, or what did you guys? You had other things?
Well, he broke out this Jack Daniels thing. I don't know what it is, but we drank some of that.
Wow, that's a good old boy thing. Bobby, any? Can you bring it down to a different level?
I'm sorry. No, well, Mike, it was there. It didn't involve any kind of crime, which we all appreciate.
A crime against humanity. Crime against humanity.
I wouldn't be surprised if John Daly had a similar story on a podcast called "The Drunkest Fan I've Ever Met."
Well, see, you guys hear one thing. I hear another thing. I hear pain from Michael making a friend, a real friend. He thought he had a connection. And then Daly showed the other side of alcohol, Robert. Okay? For you kids out there, it's all fun. But there's another side to it. And Mike is a very sensitive young man.
And
Daly, I heard the pain. Okay. And I think it came out against poor McMahan. He threw a cheese ball at him. He was upset.
Don't we have a picture of that? Can you hold that up to the screen?
Hold on, I gotta find it.
Great picture.
I don't know if we want to do that, Robert. I don't know.
No, it's a cool picture.
No, he does. He sent pictures out of McMahon, and
Have I
you had a
sent it
picture
to
of
you?
Daly that you sent out. I don't know where that went
Have I
to.
sent it to you?
If we don't have that, we have Mike as Morgan Wallen pictures.
Oh, you mean that one?
Okay. All right. That's enough, kiddos. That's enough. All right. Listen, this has been a lot of fun. We might have these gentlemen back because we might do a full Villanova.
I don't understand how George did not tell the story of the Giants training camp.
It's a story I wanted to share, but I have to tell you, I wanted to defer to Mike and Mike, because I will tell you, I did speak to him ahead of time,
All right.
and both of them, Rat had reached out to me after both those incidents occurred, and I'm like, "There's no way I'm topping that." Listen, I can show you pictures here of me with Mark Bavaro and my dad making the tackle against Bill Parcells in the championship games and going, "Fried onions," and stopping him on the goal line. My poor father eventually being arrested at training camp and being told they could never attend again. And his poor 3 kids, who I'll show you right here. We loved our dad, and that's all we look forward to. We didn't have a lot economically.
George.
We look forward to is going to the Giant training camp and going to the Yankee game after on a Friday and a Saturday. My poor father gets kicked out of Giant training camp from Bill Parcells in Wellington, Maryland, all because my poor dad snuck out on the field after practice to steal a blocking sled dummy so he could bring it back to his corporate office for the assemblymen workers.
Seems reasonable.
So these are other stories that we could have brought out.
I love the mix.
I don't want to get into it now.
All right, young.
All right, I did nothing but bring up bad things for everyone.
More pain. I now feel the pain.
Right.
I brought the pain today.
Well, listen, audience members, if we surpass Rob Schaab's and his wife Maria's record-setting view, I think it's like 700 views, Robert, of yours.
I don't think it's that high.
I will have these 4 gentlemen back.
There's no way we're beating Schaab.
And you could beat them. I'll have these 4 gentlemen back, and we'll focus on scrimmage fields, and we'll just go on. And Georgie, and maybe George will come back and tell about your uncle who got frozen. Remember that guy?
Oh yes, yep.
Came back to life. I'll sum it up. That I always learn a lot on these. I've learned that Rob has a very, very dark side to him. I didn't see that to him. He's bringing I learned that Mike Morris is even nicer than I knew him. He's just a pure-hearted, hardworking gentleman with a beautiful cabinet behind him, a great wife, good kids. I think OJ touched him, and I'm not, for you people out there in the Epstein world, it's not about that. Touched him in a way that brought him maybe to Villanova, because he could have went to USC from what I hear. He was close. It was close. George, great educators shared. I think you and Alec Baldwin have some closure to do. I think there was something there. I don't think it was what Rob thought. I just thought Alec needed a friend. And George was a open, sort of like an oasis. He not only physically an attractive, fit young man that Alec felt comfortable with, but gave him a house with guacamole. And then, politics reared its ugly head. I'm glad Kim Basinger left him. I'm not going to lie at that. But maybe he's still a little portly too. So maybe and Mike, that was a really nice story because you showed your vulnerable side. You showed your vulnerable side while you weren't, denigrating poor Daly and throwing things at him and mocking him. You wanted to be his friend, and you were hurt. You were hurt, and I can still see the pain in your eyes, or that could be the bourbon. I'm not sure, but there's something beautiful there. So I love these guys. They're good, fun, nice gentlemen. You'll stay after I say goodbye. We'll have a little chat. Out there, you like and subscribe, please. And if I get enough views, we'll bring these guys back and we'll do a football show. Is that good?
That'd be great.
Oh no, we'll do a Villanova basketball show. We'll do a
Even
Villanova
better.
basketball show. All right, people. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time